Hey, Julian, how you doing?
Doing good. How you doing, Micah?
Doing well. Thank you for joining us. Let me just make sure it's recording. We are good to go. Okay. Um, so more or less just to have the floor, tell us all about yourself, your background, and then BizTax Playbook. I showed them a little bit a preview yesterday, but I told them you would have a lot more, most likely. So yeah, you can start wherever you want with your background or wherever you want to go. Feel free.
Awesome. So I'm Julian Joppy. I'm an enrolled agent. Been in this industry for about 12 years now. Look, I have an echo here. I don't know if that's on me or
Mute it while you talk.
so I have about 12 years of experience, 12 tax seasons now. I'm from Pennsylvania originally. I live in Florida now. So I graduated from Penn State and moved to Florida about a year and a half later after doing a couple tax seasons up there. And then started my real journey, worked for a CPA firm, built a tax department for them. Went and worked for 1-800 Accountant actually many years ago for a contract with them for a year while I built my own business. So I left the CPA firm, did a couple contracts. One of them was with them and been building my own tax practice since 2019. So I started my first company, J Tax, back in 2019. Crazy enough, it was a virtual tax business when the world was still in person. So, I got laughed off a lot of calls in the beginning. So I was a little bit ahead of the time there, but people used to always ask, "Where's your office? Where's your office?" Then, of course, COVID happened, and all of a sudden, everybody needed the virtual guy. So my business exploded. Probably got about, I think, max clients I got at one point was 250, but I was doing over 400 returns a year with the businesses and everything included, and dismantled it when I got completely overwhelmed. Not because of the industry, that's because of the lack of systems and what I didn't have in place, and I was too overwhelmed to get out of it. So now I revamped and repositioned as an advisor, and we do a little bit more of an elite membership with our clients, where we do tax planning, business advisory, financial strategies, engulf it into one year-round membership where they're more so our partners than just compliance work or services. So really fun business now. I actually love what I do, love the clients that I work with and now giving back. So I built the BizTax Playbook to give back to the industry and solve needs that we currently are not solving, and also to help other people behind me to get from point A to point B faster without having to go through what I went through.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm trying to do the same in a different avenue.
Mhm.
Um, that's great. Yeah, I love what you're doing now in terms of the advisory, and I like how you put it, partnering with your clients. You definitely need two to tango to have a smooth relationship. I get those now in terms of virtual calls. People are still asking me, "Where's my office?" Even in
Really?
2026. I can't imagine in 2019 it was like unheard of. Um, but yeah, that's awesome. So you were ahead of the trend. I actually had a uh, distant cousin who was selling masks before COVID, and then they're the only one that won the lottery on that one.
Wow, yeah. Talk about timing.
Yeah. So how I'm curious if you don't mind sharing about what happened when you felt overwhelmed. I certainly took it on the chin this past tax season, and a lot of tax pros go through that because there's no standard or way to break in or create your firm. So people are winging it based on what they used or who they're speaking to. And also they're all very separate. So it is very hard to streamline, even with all the new tools are a double-edged sword that
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
hard to sift through, even though there are some gold nuggets there. So yeah, I'm curious how that experience was for you, like feeling all that. It's a very intense feeling. Like I just went through it, having a lot of people with all these expectations and really wanting to get it done and knowing if things were perfect, I could get it done but I can't at the moment, clearly. So I'm curious what your experience was there and how you did that transition to, I guess, winding down that larger client list to a slimmer one, slimmer and agile one.
Yeah, and I don't want everybody to have to do that. So what I had to do was completely just throw it away and say, I'm okay, we're going back to zero. I had saved up, I was super good with saving, so I saved up a lot of money to last like a year and a half if things had to rebuild, and I knew what I was capable of as far as starting a business from scratch, and that I could do it again. What I felt, to answer your question, was pure chaos. I mean, panic attacks every single day. I couldn't see straight. I couldn't focus. I think about I got 400 returns to do. this much time, it's impossible, and I got to deal. I'm admin, I'm dealing with all your questions, I'm intaking your documents, doing the return, answering all your questions in email all day, every day, and you have that many people. And then you got to do the sending you the return, doing any review with you over that, then getting signature pages, then getting those filed off, then following up. There's always issues, there's always variables. If something gets rejected because you're missing a pin or, 1095A. So just being from front end to back end, all of those pieces by myself, it worked really good until I got too big and didn't realize. And then it became just a living nightmare because you don't know what to do and you're just too busy to even dig your way out of it. So,
I definitely re resonate on a smaller scale for sure. And I've spoken to a lot of pros who have gone through something very similar. We just had Brenda Cannon on who does Schedule E's.
yeah.
Um, and so her narrative, her story was that she did that year after year and just kept, chugging along, but had that year after year. And I meet a lot of pros who just accept tax season and they're just willing to give up 4 or 5 months of the year, and having very elevated stress and blood pressure. But I think the
Yeah.
newer generation and people in general, certainly in the industry, are seeing there are other ways, which is very encouraging. I did not have my ducks in a row this year, but I at least see that it can. So yeah, so did you just send out an email saying bye everyone, basically, like I can't um continue essentially, and then like how did you officially cut the cord, and did you start a whole new a brand new business in order to relaunch?
No, I actually, 2023 going into 2024, I just doubled prices and I got rid of like, I want to say like 40% of my business the first way. And then I was getting ready to do it again. And I was just like, this is not going to work. You're going to degrade trust eventually because every year it's like you're going to keep doubling prices. Ridiculous. So I ended up just literally looking at my data. That's when I started getting into software, to be honest, back then. I didn't realize it at the time. But I started to look at the data of my business and to see like what was my core strengths, like what were the best at doing and what could I repeat. I read the book Built to Sell, and crazy enough, I was on a plane ride. Someone suggested it. I was in a first class upgrade. I ended up sitting next to this guy who was like 20 years um, into business and sold a business already at 11x and all that, and was super well off and was still doing businesses. So he recommended two books to read, and I read them both, and kind of changed my life. You don't realize it, but 2 hours on a plane changed my life from that point because Built to Sell goes over what to repeat within your business. Like your service should be a productized. It should be something you can do over and over and have a system in place, essentially your playbook. So I looked at like the best things I was able to do, which were the tax planning, the quarterly estimated taxes, the tax preparation, then being there year round for like questions as things come up. There's always variables. You're changing payroll, you're changing this, you're doing that. You have a question about a deduction. So I just package that as a service. Like, look, we know that you're using this, so now just prepay for it, and then everything you get is included. And that's how that boomed from there. And I didn't start any business. I literally just went. And last tax season, I had to deal with talking with hundreds of people while launching these packages. That was probably one of the busier seasons, but it had some purpose behind it. But
Yeah, definitely. What was the other book? Do you remember?
uh, Blue Ocean Strategy.
Okay, cool.
That is a
Um,
tough one to read, but I promise you, if you're gonna get into something new, if it's not gonna just be service business, like for me in the software industry, it just talks about finding an ocean that's blue and not red. Red is just full of a bunch of other people.
oh, very cool. That's great. Yeah. I wish I could read more and didn't need like a story to keep me entertained. Um, but yeah, I definitely agree with that thesis overall about thinking about how to sell things as products over a service. And that's definitely an issue with the accounting. And really everywhere where there is a service industry, there are complaints about service because you need a person to be attentive more or less all the time, which
Mhm.
is not a normal expectation. So yeah, I also try and do this similar. Sounds like you have it really down. But yeah, I try to bundle them together and I do one projection per year. Um, And very similar, just kind of all in one package. Um, what are your fees like, if you don't mind sharing with the group? Do you have like fixed pricing or is it all quoted based on what you think it's going to be?
It's dependent on each client, to be honest, so what strategies are going to be implemented and what things have to be streamlined. But we package it based on a value base. So just to give an example, if we're pulling open that you're going to do an S corp election, retirement, and maybe hiring your kids strategy, you're just going to throw three random things there, and you're going to save $20,000 a year. We can now come to you and say, look, for this advisory package, we can do it for 6,000 because we're going to have to do payroll setups and streamline that, and answering your questions, and those come up, and monitoring how much to do, and teaching you how to use those systems, as well as setting up your S corp and streamlining that. And then, you obviously know your health insurance changes every year. Retirement gets more difficult if you're doing that. So we've learned to just implement solutions and offer value based. I didn't have the ability to kind of display that value, but when I built the software now that I use that internally to run fast projections, but also to every time I'm on a Zoom call, I pull it open, they can read it and see it with me and see the value in front of them, and I can deliver that to show them. It's much easier than just talking to them and saying, give me $6,000 a year.
Yes, when I was at my old firms, that's really how the quarterly emails went. It was just like, okay, here are your payments. Next.
Right.
But that's great. Because I do a projection in Excel, but I don't really have a good deliverable. And they have these things like tax, but I didn't want to get it just to have a pretty deliverable. So it's a good middle ground. I'm curious about the software piece. So you mentioned like it was kind of new to you. Well, I guess I was going to ask what attracted you to it, but I guess just the fact that there was nothing available. Right. If there is no man, you have to be that man sometimes. And
Correct.
so how did you dive in? Did you have a process besides reading some great books and having conversations with people? Um, I'm just interested and I'd like to share with people about self-learning, basically, just that kind of learning and acclimating is just a constant process. It doesn't end after college or 12th grade.
Correct.
So I'm sure you did a lot of, I think there's a word for it, autodidact or something, teaching yourself. Did you have a process or like something you recall that how you got into it and how long it took to get comfortable?
My first milestone in my life is I used to make music. When I moved to Florida, I didn't know a lot of people, so I got back into that. It's just a way to, deal with the pressures of a CPA firm, working busy
We have somebody,
firm there.
Ronnie's a DJ. I don't know if he's here today, but one of the members.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, you understand. So by learning that software, I now realized, later down the road that it translated very well because I built a system. I had to learn a bunch of new software to be able to produce music and different plugins and different things like that. So when I really was TaxDome, not to shout them out, I don't work for them or anything. I love them. They're great. But that implementation was how I was able to scale my business. 'Cause I was able to read my data, see how many accounts I had, see all the things in there. Then I just went to town. So TaxStone was my first software rediving into the industry. My firm operates super automated on TaxStone. Like everything goes where it needs to go, and I can see where the holes are and plug them with, pipelines and workflows and automations. It's just kind of my gift, my superpower. So that was like the first step was getting in TaxStone, learning that. Once I streamlined that and had it really good at the top of 25, during that tax season, I was seeing all the benefits of having things automated. And instead of having to email clients and or them, where's my stuff? They're getting updates as they go all season. So with that additional time bought back and the admin went down ridiculously, I just dove in and was like, all right, what else can I build? So I started to use AI to do some vibe coding, as they call it. And then from there, just kept building and building and building, went past hurdles, hired a consultant here and there to get me past a couple places, and yeah, self-taught. I mean, then I saw I was able to do professional level grade stuff as well, so I just dove into that as well. Now working with developers because I want to produce some higher level stuff in the back end, but as far as I got was actually really, really good. It just was showing up every day, to be honest, and I knew that from my first round of business that in a year I'd be great, which is about a year I just passed now.
Yeah, that's awesome. Uh, I definitely agree. I think where a lot of people get stuck is just they think it's too big of a hurdle. But yeah, it's definitely a part of the modern economy, the gig economy,
Hmm.
and infinite knowledge and expertise at your fingertips if you just can go for it for long enough. Um, but
Yeah,
yeah,
if
I
you could
guess
just show up and just do 1% a day, like I forget where I read it, maybe Atomic Habits, it really does add up. And I've learned to live like that. And I didn't before. I was just reactive like everyone else for the first 5 years in business. But showing up and being proactive and just 1% a day, I mean, just a very small bit adds up and adds up and adds up. And it's like putting into the stock market, it compounds.
yeah, definitely I am internalizing that. But yes, I jump back and forth. It's hard not to react when it feels like the sky is burning sometimes. I do always like to reflect when I step back, I'm right on trajectory. But when I'm in it, it feels very intense sometimes, like in the weeds, reacting to random emails, phone calls, whatever. Um, but yeah, totally. So
Do you
that's
do any time blocking?
sort of. I'm very resistant to it. Like I'm fighting myself basically. Like I set them and then I'm like, I'm not doing that right now. Yeah, that works well for you?
I don't do specific time blocking. I realize it doesn't work well for our industry, it seems like. Maybe people can show me a better way, but what works for me is just if I'm working on one task, I tune everything else out. So I make my blocks up as I go because I know every day I have to determine sometimes what is important, what's not. But then when I'm working on, like this morning, social media content, I have everything else off, email off, phone down, and it's just all social media content. So with that hour this morning, I was able to knock out, all of my social media posts for my videos that I produce for business owners on the front end. So I was able to do that within an hour. If I'm sitting here looking at this and that, an email popping up every other minute, then it distracts you. So I've learned to protect the time on each task is really what I do more than just the blocking.
That's very wise. I just started doing that. Um, and yeah, it's hard for me because I naturally have a million tabs open. I think most people do.
Yeah.
And but yeah, intentionally shutting them off um, is definitely a good move. Anytime I do it, it's beneficial. So and it's not hard to reopen stuff. That's great. So yeah, I guess when you're ready to, you can speak more about BizTax. I'm sorry, BizTax Playbook. Is that it?
Yeah. BizTax
BizTax
Playbook. That's
Playbook.
it.
Awesome.
Mhm.
If you want to share your screen or just tell people about it, I know there's some great tools there and you've been updating
Mhm.
it constantly and you've also started the referral thing. Is that just because of the people you don't want to take necessarily at your firm because you're at capacity or it's not a good fit and you refer them out?
So the beautiful part about what I'm doing now is I have a very niche business, and most people, the clients that we pick up are very niched out. So I don't look for just mass population of clients, but I still have a lot of goodwill. So
Sure.
I've been referring people for years. It's just something now I get to do within a network. We have over 100 advisors already on the platform
That's
and
great.
probably close to 100 different open side because we have two sides of the platform, which I'll show you. So now I'm just like, hey, I can help other people build their businesses. I get in contact with a lot of different clients, so I want to just be able to, send them to people. It helps them, it helps you. I mean, it's just a win-win.
Absolutely. I think people always underestimate the monetary value of goodwill.
Yeah.
Um, it will come back
Mhm.
to you in some way. I guess people call it karma, but karma can also be financial karma. So,
It
yeah,
can, it
definitely.
can. And that's how all my referrals started to come in from just all the work I did and all the clients I had. So even when I disbanded my business, I made sure each and every one of them got to the right place, make sure they had the documents, make sure I gave referrals. It was a lot of work last year, but that's how I got into the habit of just doing it all the time. And I love doing it now. I get on calls with people. Even though I know they're not going to be a client for me, they'll be for somebody else, and it's a win. So,
That's really great. Yeah, I hope to kind of take a similar lead in the apprenticeship. The goal slightly pivoted to kind of after they get the EA, helping them launch a firm, very similar to
mhm.
how you were, and really teaching them setting up the right systems and then making those available, very similar to your mission in terms of giving people the tools. So yeah, I had an idea of lead generation, getting on the phone and then matching them up with the right advisor, probably at least for the beginning. So yeah, I
Mhm.
also enjoy that role as well. It's also really nice when there's no pressure on the call and you're just
Mhm.
speaking naturally and curiously, and you're just a matchmaker. So I agree.
Oh yeah, they actually brings me more business by getting on saying I don't really want your business. I'm just trying to help you. They generally like, how do I work with you? I'm like, it's not a good fit, but I got somebody. So I've learned to offer value before I ever asked for it, and that was another key piece I got from whatever book I read then. But just offer something before you get something. It does pay off. It just takes a little bit longer sometimes.
Absolutely.
But yeah, let me show you what I got here. I'm gonna give you a quick rundown on this.
Okay. And if anybody has questions, feel free to jump in.
Please do. So there's two sides of this platform. I will be rebuilding this website to make it a little bit more dynamic over time. But essentially, we have a side that's open for business owners, investors, even accountants who don't want to be on the advisor side of it, doing any advisory side. to use all the open tools available, to use our systems. The reason I built this was to have tools for my clients that they were tired of seeing Excel or not using them. So I wanted to create a more streamlined way to get them involved. So that is now evolved to a full ecosystem now where I give them, instead of meeting with each client one-on-one, I'm going to give them the content through the playbook. And then if they see something they like, they come to me and say, hey, I want to implement that. Versus now you having to remember all these different strategies in the middle of a call, and then have to deliver that, to every client. And I'm sure we all have gotten a call and said, I missed something. And now I have to go back and try to email them, and it's just either too late or I'll get it next time. So I want to drive that home to this is for advisors and professionals as well, but also for their clients. We don't want your clients. We're not doing any referrals. We're not taking them. We're just here to create the system that drives them back to us and gives them the tools that we're not charging them for, like helping them keep a tax budget, quarterly estimated tax payments. There's different tools on here that they can use to um, remember to do those things so you don't have to be the burden of doing it anymore. And that's essentially what this became for my clients, and I've shared it with others.
Yeah, I got an email notification about that. That was looked very interesting. If, are you able to kind of show that how what it looks like? Because there's really estimated tax payments. It's funny because they're so common, but there's no good system to do it. Like at all my firms, they
Mhm.
had vouchers and checks, which is not ideal. But otherwise, you have to like go online to like a bunch of different systems or in the tax software, but then you're like committed at April 4th, 15th. So is it just kind of a reminder and then points you in the right direction where to go?
Correct. So the email, join the network, and I tell people all the time, just join it. You'll get free tips, strategies, reminders, and then we also start guiding things. So accountable plan. So I built accountable plan tools for S Corp and partnership owners, for my clients especially, like, hey, remember to reimburse yourself for mileage. I can't, you're not paying me to be there every month to say, hey, did you do your mileage? Let me see it. Let me verify it. But now we have a system like it just reminds you. You send out an email, and then the tool links there that if they need a way to be able to calculate, for instance, we'll go over this. If they're doing their mileage reimbursement, they can just click in here and say, I'm doing it for 1 month and I drove 50 miles. It'll give you a quick reimbursement amount to tell them, all right, send the $36 over to from your S Corp to your personal. And that way now they have a system. So now I've reminded them to do it and I don't have to worry about it anymore.
That's awesome. Accountable plan, I've always been, I guess, like not 100% sure on just because at any firm I worked at, they basically like, don't do them because the rules are so kind of like you just have to have a system. It doesn't like necessarily specify the system. So would you say like somebody just doing this and then doing the transfer is an accountable plan essentially?
Yeah, you get them to fill a document. You can just do a template for accountable plan. I mean, we have AI now. You can ask for that
Right.
and pretty much get a good one.
Just
So
like
all of our
signed,
clients signed it.
they sign it once and that's it?
Yeah, they signed it to say that they're going to be doing these reimbursements for their business and they will be able to send it. The big thing is following through like the 30 days or 60 days, depending on the requirement, and then reimbursing in real time. Because, I mean, let's be honest, a lot of us at the end of the year just have to force these things and
Totally.
it's not by code, so they could challenge it,
Right.
not the end of the world, but
Yeah, it's
it
always
is, it
better to
is
do it
what it
like
is.
this.
Yeah, it is what it is kind of the industry. So I'm trying to change
Right.
that.
Yeah, it's always nice to have your ducks in a row, and this makes it really easy. So that's great.
Yep. So our clients, there's no sign up or anything crazy. They just go in here and click join the network. They fill out a couple pieces of information and they get added to the list to all the reminders and all the information. And we only give them strategies that, again, an advisor would want them to see, not a bunch of nonsense and jargon on the internet that we have today. And something else I'll show you about that as well. So same thing for estimated taxes. We have this estimated tax safe harbor calculator. And then I'll show you the BizTax payment hub that I just created as well a couple weekends ago. So they're able to go in there and just fill out some information and say, okay, I'm in Florida, I'm single, I have 150K, and my tax liability is, I'm just throwing out a number here. It'll spit out what they need to make each quarter, but it also tells them, hey, this is things you need to do. Run it quarterly, consult with an advisor. We want to drive them back to us if they need help, but this gives them the baseboard that, again, we're not getting paid for a lot of this stuff. So why not just give them the resources versus it gets messed up and now we have to continue to keep fixing things.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I always thought about just like the tools I use, just showing it to clients, but sometimes there's too much chicken scratch on it.
Yeah, and Excel and all those things, it's just,
Yeah,
it
it doesn't
doesn't
look
work.
good.
I've
Right.
tried it. They don't do it because it's boring. You're going to Google Drive or something to get it to them. So this is
Right.
easy. You can use this
Yeah.
on your phone. You can pull it up on your phone, run it. So it's all mobile setup as well. And it's all state coded to each state. So it's the 30, what is it, 30, 70, 100 rule for California. It's based on that as well, just giving them some insights. And that way, if they need to pay now, we just created this recently because during tax season, I had that pain point. I'm giving people all the
Yeah.
different links, and we had a new client in Michigan. I'm like, I don't have the links for that, and it's just a pain to go find it. So I was like, how
Totally.
can I streamline that? And I
Oh,
just
this is
created this.
amazing.
So now you can just go in here and find your state and be able to
Wow,
get
that's good
information.
stuff. This is really, I was just thinking that like there is nothing like this. And you
There's
created
not.
it. That's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah, so now you can go in here and tell the client, this is what we did in our tax dome. We put it in our workflow now. I already changed all the messages. So every quarter they'll say, instead of here's the link for this instructions, just, here's federal and state instructions, general instructions, and here's the link. Go find those things and make the payments. And now it's safe. It'll drop them right
Oh,
to
I
you.
like that you have credit card. That's good. It's very
Yeah,
underutilized.
it is.
Yeah, I like
And I
it.
get asked a lot, and now you got to come back with another response. And now that, can I do credit card? Because we usually give them the direct pay, like most people do. And then it's like, can I do
Right.
credit card? Now you got to, in the middle of busy season, like, come on, just pay the taxes.
Oh yeah.
So it just gives them an option. It just streamline what we're doing. So it's pretty
Yeah.
much,
Yeah, this is great. I was always wondering why they couldn't do like an e-file system for estimates, but that would require like actually working with the states and jurisdictions, which is
yeah,
the
it's
big
a
lift.
lot.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
lot of them. And that's why I don't put instructions for everyone because they keep changing too. So even
Right.
IRS just changed the estimate. Now you have to put the year in, which is, I don't know why they did that. For estimated taxes, they used to just auto-populate, which was great.
Hmm.
So now they have to know which year, and God forbid they're in January 2027 trying to pay for 2026, it could get confusing. So we'll see
Definitely.
how that works.
I'm a big fan. This is really awesome. I'm gonna start using it.
Yeah, and again, feel free. I know it'll take a lot of trust to get people to join the network side, but that's the purpose of it. That's what we're using it for. Same thing with the business tax budgeter. This is the reason I built the platform right here. It was the only reason. I didn't have any other purpose beyond setting this up. Business owners, you have estimated taxes, you're doing this quarterly. In real time, how do we give clients a budget? And that was the biggest question people kept asking me is, how do I align what I'm saving to what I owe? And, I had to keep explaining there's two different things. Estimates are covering penalties. There's no real really budget. So I used to give them spreadsheets and just do like 30%. And it worked to some degree. When you have a higher income, it does not work. So I created this budgeter. I actually went through and spent, about a month and a half researching every state and came up with a code and tested this heavily in BNA and a bunch of other tax planners I had at the time and made a actual proprietary formula that works across the board. And it takes seconds for somebody to get a budget
It's
and it
amazing.
simplifies it. Now they say they made this in a month or whatever period they want to put in, but I highly have people doing this monthly and it just spits out what they need to set aside.
That's awesome.
Again, driving it back to the advisor, make sure you talk to them if you want to confirm. But it gives them the
Yeah.
budget and it takes them seconds now. And now all my clients are using it. So it's amazing.
Yeah, it's great. Do you plan to monetize in the future, or is this just going to be more of a lead generator and platform in general?
The open side for business owners, that will remain free. I don't see any intention on monetization. I want this to be almost like an educational slash resource center for all.
Yeah, that's great.
I have the advisor side, which we're going to look into as well, and I'll be able to do things there. I believe to monetize it, hopefully by the end of the year is the goal, if I work hard enough.
Hmm.
But the point is to drive more value than what it's ever worth. So it makes it just a no-brainer. Just like now it's free, you can't help it but use it.
Right.
So that's the goal there. So of course it would be to make some monetary value, but I also am building this for my own company, first and foremost. So that's the value I get out of it right off the bat.
Totally.
That's the main thing there for me.
Any questions from anybody? Feel free you can unmute yourself or you could put it in the chat. But yeah, do you have any other like favorite tools? I looked at a bunch of them, but ones you either use more most often or are most proud of. As a creator, I know there's pride and everything.
Yeah, there
As well
is.
myself.
Um,
Yeah.
the business retirement ones are going to be huge because they drive home a lot of that conversation. So there's an advanced version. We're going to go over that really quickly as well. But this is just simply, there was no tool that was visually appealing. You know, any other tool you find online for retirement is always this clunky. You could tell some coding person did it, not somebody who's actually trying to do a visual. So what I did here is just build something you can go over with your clients, or you just want to give to your clients when they ask you these questions, like what can I do for retirement? Here, go here. When you're ready to implement, come back to me, and then we'll talk about implementing, and then we can get a fee out of that.
Right. Yeah, it's smart.
And then I don't have to keep asking the same question. All right, what if I make 50? What if I make 60? You know, back and forth. Now you're like, all right, you're doing advisory work, and I'm trying to figure out what to charge. So now it gives them some knowledge. The whole point is to give them baseline knowledge, drive them back to us to be like, okay, how do I do this now? This is great.
Yeah, that's awesome. When you finish one of these tools, do you usually it's more of a stylistic question. Do you kind of publish it and then you're not doing any updates to it, or are you going back and revising it every so often? Just like adding, an extra feature here or there.
Definitely revising them as I go. For ones like this is kind of, it's going to stand still for now.
Right.
But I did add 2026 to it, at the end of 2025. So we made the annual update to it. Um, but yeah, I plan on keep building. I mean, this is just the beginning now that I'm getting it. Um, I get paid to do tech consulting now. I'm in a whole different space. That's why I said it's not even, I'm not fighting for clients anymore. I want people to
Right.
have these resources. I love building these things. Um, but yeah, I mean, I continue to want to build this. I will have plenty of things that'll keep getting launched.
That's
Uh,
amazing. So the developers you just brought on or you're working with, is that to work on more tools and things like that, or is there another project in the works?
that's going to be for the other end, but it'll help this tool as well because I'll be able to centralize some of these and just make a better workflow. I'm trying to hopefully eventually get to where you just have a workflow where they can come on board and, be guided through the different things they have to do and have a knowledge base. So these tools, I'm going to try to create a knowledge base to be able to show everybody how they work. It's going to be important, something visual. That way it's not just stagnant here and then you have to go and learn it. Even though they're very quick, it still takes time and effort.
Totally. Yes. Each extra click is always something for me. Um, Alex asked a question in the chat. I could read it
So
out, or you could. Either way. I'll read it out. Alex says, I have a question. How did you deal with self-doubt when thinking about starting a business in the beginning? I guess like when you first started. It's interesting. I call them accidental entrepreneurs, like people who have to create a business in order to operate, like doctors and dentists. Accountants are also if they want to do taxes and not have a boss. Um, so yeah, however you want to answer that.
you're going to have imposter syndrome in the beginning. The faster you get over that, the better. But it just takes time of showing up every single day and just dealing with that. And I can say from somebody who just restarted their career from scratch and we went through this over the last year and a half, it just took showing up every day and just you're going to take L's in the beginning, but you got to be okay with that because you can't win without losing first. It's just impossible. So in the beginning of these calls, I got on my first few. I'm like, hey, I have these new packages, a couple thousand. They're like, nope, I'm out. You're like, oh, so I didn't tap in. And then each one of those made me better and better and better. And then I started to see what things clicked, like what things actually resonated with people. And then I tapped into that. As soon as I realized it was more of the financial and the advisory throughout the year, then I tapped into that side of it and said, okay, I'll be able to help streamline things. And that's why I had to end up building software too. But it was really just showing up and taking those few L's in the beginning. Even going back to 2019, when people are like, "Where's your office?" It was like not having a business suit on. It's what it felt like. And I'm like, I work from home, and people kind of laugh me off the phone. So took those L's, but a year later, I'm booming, and I made more money than anybody else I knew who had a day job for the last 7 years. So you got to get past that doubt because it's really just your learning curve. I hope I explained that well.
Yeah, no, I think it was perfect because there's no other way really. There's no other way to break. You just got to break through, which is going through it. But yeah, I don't know if there is another, I don't know if there's a comfortable way to do entrepreneurship. But it is very worthwhile, kind of like a hobby somebody's passionate about and working hard on. Um, but yeah, I've never spoken to an entrepreneur who's like, yeah, it's been smooth sailing. Um, yeah, there's definitely, I saw there's like a meme about two different pictures, and there's a valley in between, and there's the finish line and the start, and the valley is cringe. So the person who gets through the cringe valley, they're gonna make it to the goal line. And yes, I agree. It's definitely a lot of trial and error, and being open to pivoting, even if it's slightly or bigly, like you did. So um, I guess it wasn't so big. It probably felt really big, but
It
from
was huge back then, man. I didn't
right.
know. I literally was like, I don't know who's gonna sign. I might have zero. And I was in my mind, I was like, if I at least get 10 clients, I can survive, with some income. But no, I literally was ready to go back to zero. So yes, it was big.
Yeah, definitely. Um, yeah, it's great. Anyone else have any questions in the chat? You could also unmute yourself if you want to. Um, I'm hoping with I also pivoted slightly. This was a really slight one. I mean, just in terms of training people, getting the EA, and so everybody here, most of them passed the first exam. The second one's not until July, apparently. They just started scheduling. And it's going online. I don't know if you heard the news. They're out of Prometric. They broke the monopoly, sort of.
Yeah, I heard that. So they're going online, like you can take it online?
Yeah, that's
Wow, no, I didn't know that.
yeah. I think it's going to be a big move. I think it's going to help with adoption of and promoting
Of
the
course.
credential. So it's good timing. Internationally also because you're able to get it internationally.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I'm hoping to help people launch firms, and it's not going to get people out of that cringe because you still have to make phone calls and occasionally look like an idiot. But hopefully have some amount of safety net and just direction because everyone's doing the same thing when they start their business. So it'd be nice to be able to walk people through that.
Yeah, you're
Uh,
giving them a playbook, which is way better than I had and than most people have. So that's
right.
amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of like getting recruited to a big four out of college and finding out there are these people working for themselves 5 years in, like I did. Um, and many do.
I
Yeah.
end up getting paid to consult them. And that's when I knew from then, I was like, wow, I'm glad I took this path because I always worked small firms, but they're coming to me like, how do I run a small business? And I'm like, all they know is these big systems are already a part of. They do one or two jobs and everything else is covered. So I've been paid several times to consult them and help them. And I love doing that. But I saw that like I had value too. So again, you got to just see your wins.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, that's I guess the thing about getting past the cringe and seeing behind the curtain is that a lot of these people who seem like they have it together don't necessarily or aren't doing things the best way. And yet part of breaking through that imposter syndrome, I think, is just realizing how much you have. I would say, particularly with accountant personalities, I find, which tend to thrive with imposter syndrome. It's yeah, realizing how much value people have. I think people underappreciate all the random intricacies of just things they know, whether they learned it at any which way, and being able to share that with others. Like you did, like consulting these big places. It looks intimidating, then you look behind it, and you're like, oh, these guys actually don't know what they're doing. Oh, okay. And it takes a while to process that, honestly. Like these people who I've thought knew what they were doing basically my whole life is like now they're actually winging it and pretending they know what they're doing.
And
Awesome.
that's why I built this advisor side, and I'll quickly give a short overview. I know we're running up on time.
Yeah, please.
This is obviously the important side where there's all the tools that we can use to drive all of our planning initiatives throughout the year. So if you're running a projection, this quarterly estimated tax calculator can run a full year because you can do Q4 or it can run every quarter. Um, it pretty much gives an entire analysis of the year as well as each quarter what they should pay as far as safe harbor amounts. So it derives that number. I won't get into showing too much of this. I don't want to get too repetitive here. Um,
I
but
might take a
I'm
look.
sorry.
I'm speaking at an NAEA in New England.
Mhm.
So I'm speaking about QBI they asked me to speak about. I might steal your thing here.
Yeah, yeah.
I might use it and that'd be
Please do.
great.
Please. Of course. I mean, what this does is just speeds up. what we're doing for the first time, because I used to do all the projections myself. I gave it to my team, collected the information. We had them put it into the quarterly estimated tax calculator, and all I had to do was review them. And I have state ones as well. They're not available just yet. Um, that's in our premium. You won't be able to see this premium or advisor portal. Um,
Are those not available yet, or they just have a paywall?
no, not available yet. Just everything that we test out internally, we work on it and work on it, and once it works, then I'll produce it to somebody else. I don't want to have to just throw out slop as you've seen out there in the internet.
Oh
Come
boy.
test my products, and you're wasting all your time. So we make sure they work first internally before we share them with everybody else. But they're free to access just through a sign up. And that gets people part of the network for referrals as well. And there's a bunch of tools on here. I built an AI researcher that it's not perfect. It does hallucinate. They all do.
Right.
It's way better than just asking chat and getting a random answer. So we
Oh,
use it.
that's great. And that's free right now.
Yeah, well, that's free. That's through ChatGPT. So if you click on it, opens up in ChatGPT, you can save that GPT to your agent
Oh,
list.
nice. That's great. How long did it take you to design that? I always think about doing stuff like that, and then I don't. But how long did it take?
I have to give
Plead the
props to
fifth?
my.
Yeah.
No, I met a data scientist and she hooked me up with some prompt things that helped to generate that. So she really was the reason I was able to do that. Before I was just using chat just like everyone else, but now I actually build agents because of the prompt thing she gave me. So it didn't take as long as you'd expect, but I did have to refine it for probably about a week straight to make sure it was ready to share with everyone else.
Yeah. Do you have an issue? I have a big issue, so I'm asking about getting carried away with new exciting things, like especially with software and
Mhm.
AI. There's always a new cool thing. Do you struggle with that, and do you have a system for working on that, or is it kind of natural for you to like have more or less narrow focus to the 1% of the day, more or less?
It depends on it depends on the project. Certain projects I might get overzealous, and I definitely did that towards Q4 as I was building out. This advisor portal was something I built out in Q4, and it started to run into my planning and my tax season, so I had to step back for the meantime and while I'm getting a developer so I can speed up the process while I'm continuing to work. Um, but yeah, I mean, I got caught up in this all last year, and it can hurt your day job if you're not careful. So you just gotta define workflows that work for you. Trying too many things is going to be just as bad as not doing anything at all.
Oh yeah.
So I try to find a solution that works and stick it out until there's a better, more proven solution from there.
Yeah, that's a good proxy. I said that one time to the group that basically like solutions are meant for problems. If there's no problem, we don't necessarily need to introduce a solution. Which is what large firms do all the time, just like swapping out lateral softwares with no real
Mhm.
improvement. This is awesome. Okay, anyone, uh, feel free. Last call for questions. You can put in the chat or speak up. Otherwise, please go to BizTax Playbook. Sign up. It's an awesome resource. It's not a it's an awesome free resource. I haven't seen anything really similar. It's like occasionally I'll find one website with like a single tool. Like I like Charles Schwab's inherited IRA calculator. And that's like a single tool. But yeah, a lot of these I would hope to have more time to play around and use more and see which ones work with my workflow. But a number of them are Yes Minute Tax is my favorite so far. But they're all great. So I'm very impressed with what you're doing. Um, and that it's available, which is awesome.
Yeah,
Um,
happy to be in service. Alexander asked, what are your future plans for any new features? I have a lot. As you just mentioned, getting stuck on things. I have a lot in the pipeline. I actually will show you one. I'll give a preview here since I know this is going to go out. This is something that we've worked on recently, and essentially it's going to be your hub to be able to save client profiles and then be able to save projections and everything too here. So it's great to have all the projection tools, but this is probably going to be getting this paid version where you're able to save your client information and then be able to refer back to it. And a lot of times, if someone asks me a question, I know I got to go dig through their information to figure out how to get them an answer or projection. But if I have everything here that I need, and that's what we went through and refined, this will give us the ability to refer right back to it. So now I'm saying, okay, I'm going to run a projection for you. I have all these pieces of information in front of me. and quarterly estimated tax payments as they're paid. You can update them, and that we can keep track, that we can go back anytime and see those things in one spot versus jumping to the tax lien.
Yeah. I was just thinking about making like a master list for estimated taxes, something like
That
that.
definitely will need that. I think I'm going to have something like that built. Again, I'm going to have a knowledge base for the advisor side. Open side will be for simpler things, but I'm going to have a knowledge base as well to help drive home the value here, having all these pieces of information. So, and then being able to edit them in real time and have it go up and edit. So this is what I've been working on again, day and night, as well as some other things. I won't give away all the beans now, but I have plenty of other things in store.
Is there like another company that is doing I know, I guess Holista Plan is the one that comes to mind. Is there anyone else? And they're also in the financial advising space, so they're almost like not grown in the tax industry in a sense. Um, is there any other company that doing anything similar or that you've looked at for inspiration, things of that nature?
You have BNA tax planner, you used it. It's just too
Right.
complex for
Yeah.
most.
That's
And
the old school, which was
yeah,
it's very well researched and will get you the right answers, but it won't have glitches. But yeah, it's basically unusable. It's
yeah.
like really hard to use. Even people have been using it for a long time go get very frustrated with it. All the big firms use it. But
It's
that's really, yeah, I guess it's really not
There's
much.
nothing out there, and that's why we're building it, to be honest, because we need our advisory firm. Instead of raising prices, we're able to do stuff so efficient and so quick. Like some of our advisory hours last year was like 7 hours for the entire year because everything takes us 15, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Estimated tax used to take me 2 hours of, having to come up with some concoction and BNA, and weighing all these things. And now we can do one in, you know, less than 15 minutes, get all the information, throw it on here, review it, send it to the client. Now we got the payment hub. So we'll just keep buying back time through systems versus trying to keep raising prices and having to deal with that.
Yeah, totally agree. And I've also been mentioning advisory more. I just think AI is going to push things in that way because people are going to want a higher level of service and people need a lot of help. I mean, there's a huge gap there in terms of what people would like help with and the demand to satisfy it. Advisory for sure, just questions, events, things happening throughout the year. And things keep getting more complex. So even like quote unquote regular people are needing more and more of that type of service. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah, looking forward to the new future. Just like I'm hoping, just like in 2019, or I'm pretty sure it's going to be this, that I was before, the advisory took off. I'm feeling like I'm about the same place I was before, or one more
Yeah,
year and we're going to be at it.
right. This time you might be able to foresee it. That time you might have lucked into it.
Oh, I lucked into it heavily. I was just didn't want to go to the office anymore. I wanted to work for myself. I had friends working from home. Like I can do that too, but
Yes,
no.
there was always like these special people everyone knew. Now it's like 25% of the workforce.
Correct, correct. So yeah, definitely was just fell into it before. So
Awesome. All right, thank you so much, Julian. Really appreciate it. Oh, we're also launching a new cohort Monday. If you know anyone who's looking to break into the industry, send them our
awesome,
way.
awesome, man. Keep doing the
Thank
good
you.
work you're doing, and
Likewise. Good seeing you.
all right, you
Take
too,
care.
man. Take care.
Take care, everybody.